It's a great pleasure to thank, first of all, our Portuguese friends that they hosted us, that we had yesterday a great evening together, a lot of chance to exchange, and also a great place to be here in Lisbon. And I have to link this thank you to our Portuguese hosts with also a good message towards the media coverage, because, you know, when we started as presidency, our job, one of the ideas was that we want to be, as an EPP family on European level, of help for our national colleagues. The member parties must feel that it makes a real advantage to be part of the EPP family. And when I see today what we have as an outcome here in Portugal and also in Spain, in the media and also in the social media activities, so also what we did yesterday with the social media presence of the EPP Political Assembly, the figures are really, really promising, and the outcome is really very good. So that is what we try to add with our work, that we do our internal business. Like today, it's a day of internal business, but we really can assist, we really can help member parties on the ground to be more successful and show that they are part of the biggest, strongest European political family. So thanks so much for the Portuguese friends, and Thanasis, also thank you for your engagement in this regard with all the team, because again, the media coverage was really very promising. Dear friends, we have today a special guest with us, and it's really a privilege for us. Yesterday we had two future prime ministers in front of us, so Luis Montenegro and Alberto Nuno Feijó. We hope that they will win, but today we have a real prime minister with us, and that's the Prime Minister of Slovakia. Let's welcome Eduard Heger among us. Eduard, it's great to have you here as a friend of the EPP. The background is clear, that Olano is asking for joining the EPP family. We will discuss this morning, and it's great also to listen afterwards to your presentation, to the ideas of Olano, and also what are you doing in Slovakia in the fight against corruption, all these issues which are deeply rooted in the party. So thank you so much for your presence. And the first session this morning, the idea of the first session is that we are starting with prioritizing the second important point in this moment of history. We spoke yesterday already about this. One aspect is energy. We have to win the energy war, which was declared by Putin against us. That was yesterday. Esther managed this, and we will have a declaration this morning on this subject. But the second is the more important thing, that is the military side, the fight of our Ukraine friends against the unprovoked attack from Putin against the country since the 24th of February this year. And that's why it's great to have also EPP family now with us, at least online connected. I have to apologize Mayor Klitschko, because he told us a few minutes ago that there was an emergency situation in Kiev. That's why he cannot make it now. Probably he can be a little bit later connected. We will try to do this. But I think we all have full understanding for the emergency situation in Kiev in this moment for the country and for the city. But we have other friends with us, and that's why it's a great honor that Yulia Tymoshenko is online connected, also one of the EPP friends and EPP party members in Ukraine. Good to see you, Yulia, online connected, and I immediately give you the floor. You have the floor for presenting the current situation, please.
Dear Manfred, dear Luis Montenegro, and all our Portuguese friends, my dear political family, I address to you from Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, where a violent, barbaric war unleashed by Putin's Russia has been going on for 9 months already.
Останнього разу я мала можливість говорити до вас майже 6 місяців тому під час конгресу у Роттердамі.
The last time I had the opportunity to speak to you was almost 6 months ago during the Congress in Rotterdam. During these 6 months, we not only resisted, but also liberated several regions from the occupants, including the Kiev region. We conducted a successful counter-offensive and completely liberated Kharkiv region, and a week ago, the city of Kherson in the south of Ukraine that was under occupation for 8 months.
І це стало переламним моментом у війні. Відкриттям
This has
шляху
become the
до
turning point in the war, opening the way to the final
Ми довели,
victory.
що здатні захистити
We have
зі
proved
зброєю
that we are
ворога
able to
нашу
protect
свободу,
our freedom and our people with weapons in our hands,
захистити саме право на нашу
to protect the very right to
Ці
our
перемоги
existence.
стали можливими завдяки
All these victories were possible only thanks to the unprecedented courage and resilience of our people, invincibility of our army, and also thanks to our unity with you.
Ми, українці,
We Ukrainians are extremely grateful to Europe for your sincere and powerful support, for the shelter for our citizens,
наших громадян, за вашу гуманітарну
for your humanitarian
за
aid,
зброю,
for weapons, for financial assistance and sanctions, for making us stronger, for being with
що ви з нами.
us.
Тепер треба так само в нашій
And now
області
we must move forward in our unity.
Як
As they say
говорять
today in
сьогодні у нас в
Ukraine,
Україні,
we've taken Kherson and we will take Khersonesus.
Щойно у журналі The
The Economist magazine has published an article about 3 ways out of this war. Ukraine's defeat,
Поразка України.
a grey option of a protracted, endless war called a stalemate, and a comprehensive victory of
яку в цій
Ukraine.
статті назвали тупіком. І третє – всеосяжна перемога України. Але насправді не
But in
існує
fact, there are
ніяких
no
варіантів
3 options of
завершення
ending the
війни.
war in Ukraine.
Існує лише один варіант.
There is only one option:
Перемога і ще раз
victory,
перемога.
victory, and victory again.
Не лише про долю моєї батьківщини.
Because it
Сьогодні
is
в
not
Україні
only about the fate of
вирішується
my
і
motherland.
майбутнє всієї
Today,
Європи,
the future of
зокрема,
the whole
її
Europe.
безпекової
In
архітектури.
particular,
Сьогодні в Україні
its
вирішується
security
питання,
architecture is
яким
being
буде
decided
наступний
in
світовий
Ukraine.
порядок. І чи збережеться
Today, the
лідерство
issue of
Заходу
what will
в
be
глобальному
the
світі.
next world
Саме
order
в цьому
and whether the
полягає
leadership of the
стратегічна
West
важливість
in the
і
global world
необхідність
will be
перемоги в цій
preserved
війні
is being
для всього
decided
вільного
in
світу.
Ukraine.
Ми в Україні знаходимося
This is
лише на
why
лінії фронту.
victory in this war
Але
is
весь
so
демократичний
strategically
світ
important
є на
and
лінії
necessary for the
проти
whole free
авторитарного
world.
кривавого зла,
We in Ukraine
який
are on the
уособлює
front line,
сьогодні путінський
but the
режим.
entire democratic
Ця
world
війна
is also
є
at
війною
war
проти
against the
Європи,
authoritarian,
проти наших
bloody
вільних
evil
цінностей
embodied
і
today
проти
by Putin's
міжнародного
regime.
права. І коли ви
This war
запитаєте,
is a war against Europe,
який спосіб
against
є
our common
найкращий,
values
щоб
and against
закінчити війну?
international law.
Моя відповідь дуже
And when you
проста.
ask what is the best way to end this war, my answer is to win it quickly. And how? To significantly and quickly strengthen our joint efforts, more weapons, to inflict a quick and crushing defeat on the enemy army, to once and for all protect the world.
Повільність з постачанням зброї
The slow delivery of
більше
weapons
схожа,
is
на
more
жаль, на
like
мазохізм.
masochism.
Затяжна війна
A protracted
вигідна.
war is
Він
beneficial for
хоче
Putin.
затяжної війни,
He wants
щоб
a protracted
підірвати
war
єдність
to
країн
determine
вільного
the
світу,
unity of the
послабити
countries of the
санкції
free
і
world,
сприяти приведенню до влади в Європі
to weaken
і не
sanctions
тільки в
and
Європі,
help bring
популістських,
pro-Russian
проросійських
populist political
політичних
forces
сил.
to power in Europe.
Швидка перемога є
A
в
quick
інтересах
victory is in the interest of both
всієї
Ukraine
Європи
and the whole
і
Europe.
всього вільного світу. Я
I
знаю,
know that
що
today a
сьогодні
new
буде
EPP
представлена
initiative will
нова
be presented
ініціатива
called Winter of
Європейської народної
Solidarity.
партії, що має назву «Зима солідарності». Дійсно, календарна зима
The calendar winter
розпочнеться
will
вже
begin
за
in
2
2
тижні.
weeks.
Чи буде ця зима зимою
Will this
солідарності?
winter be a winter of solidarity? I am
Чи може
sure
ця зима
it will.
стати зимою невдоволення?
Can this winter become a
Сподіваюся,
winter
що
of
ви впораєтеся
discontent?
і що цього не трапиться.
I hope
Чи
no.
побачимо ми зиму єдності?
Will we see a winter of
Переконаний, що
unity?
так. Чи
I am
може ця
confident
зима
we will.
стати зимою умиротворення
Can this
агресора?
winter become a
Чого
winter
ви
of appeasement of the
Маю
aggressor?
надію, що ні.
I hope
За
no.
зимою завжди йде весна.
Winter is
Давайте
always followed
разом
by spring.
зробимо все, щоб наступна
Let's do
весна
together
стала
everything
весною
possible to make the
нашої
next
з вами
spring a
перемоги.
spring of victory.
Давайте будемо ще
Let's be
більш
even more
єдиними
united
і
and stronger
сильнішими
in our
у
fight for a
боротьбі за
peaceful,
мирну,
free,
вільну,
integrated,
цілісну і
and
демократичну
democratic
Європу.
Europe.
Давайте не забувати,
Let's
що
not
після
forget
перемоги
that
у
after
цій
winning
війні
this war,
нам всім
we will
треба
all
ще
have to
виграти
win
мир.
the peace.
Я пам'ятаю,
I
як ми
remember
про це
how we
детально
discussed this
говорили
in
з
detail with
Манфредом Вебером в
Manfred
травні
Weber
в
in
Брюсселі.
Brussels in May.
Нам потрібно буде
We will have to
відновити
rebuild
Україну
Ukraine
як
as a
країну
country
соціально орієнтованою
with a
економікою,
socially oriented
верховенством права
economy,
і
the rule
сильними
of law, and
демократичними
strong
інституціями.
democratic
Нам треба
institutions.
буде разом створити
We will
нову
have to create
безпекову
a new
архітектуру,
security
що
architecture
гарантуватиме
together
безпеку і
that can
стабільність
guarantee
Європі
security
та в
and
усьому
stability
світі
in Europe
і не
and prevent
допустити нових
new
воєн,
wars.
не за яких обставин. Зима, що наближається,
The winter that is coming brings a lot of challenges and also dangers,
вона надає і нові можливості.
but it also brings new
Можливості для
opportunities.
скоординованих і сильних дій
Opportunities for
для всієї
coordinated
нашої
and powerful
політичної
actions
сім'ї
for our
Європейської
whole
народної
political
партії.
family,
Нам
the European
потрібні
People's
сміливі
Party.
дії. Нам
We
не
need
треба
bold
боятися
action. We
підняти
should not be
прапор
afraid to show the
Європейської
EPP's
народної
flag.
партії в цій боротьбі добра зі злом. Саме тому я пропоную провести навесні
This is why I propose to
2023
hold an
позачергову
extraordinary political
політичну
assembly
асамблею
and
і
EPP
саміт
summit in the
Європейської
spring
народної партії
in
в
Ukraine, in
Україні,
our
в
capital,
нашій
Kiev.
столиці, в Києві. І я в це віддано
The
вірю.
winter that is coming
Єдності
brings a lot of
разом
challenges
до
and
перемоги.
dangers.
Слава Україні! Слава об'єднаній Європі! Слава Європейській народній партії!
Glory to Ukraine, glory to Europe, glory to the EPP.
Julia, thank you. Thank you so much for your message from Ukraine to us here to Lisbon. And let me assure you again, and you know this, that EPP family is fully united in supporting you, supporting our friends. Putin must lose, Ukraine must win the war. That is our main message also here from Lisbon. And for us, it's clear that the EPP must be still, although in this winter, the driving force in this regard. And I want to remind us and also the public that, dear friends, it was mainly the EPP who was driving the pro-Ukraine development, especially when it was about granting membership perspective for Ukraine. It was Roberta Metsola, the first in Kiev. It was Ursula von der Leyen, who was very outspoken. It was not Macron. It was not Olaf Scholz who did it. We did it as EPP. So that's why we can be very proud about our engagement there. Also on national level, I have the German colleagues in front of me. You pushed in German Bundestag the German government for delivering weapons. So we do this on the ground. We deliver there our engagement. And let's be really proud about this. And we have also some positive signals. Also globally, G20 was a success, where we as Europeans, together with the American friends, managed to strengthen, let me say, the solidarity with Ukraine on global level. So we are in a good way. And Julia, thank you so much for the invitation, for coming to Ukraine next year for a political assembly, for a presidency meeting, for whatever format we can then organize. It would be a great message that we would be, as a political family, the first being present back in Ukraine to work for the future of Europe. So, Julia, thank you so much for this. And now let me introduce a video message, not online connected, but a video message from Oleksandra Matvichuk. She's an Ukrainian human rights lawyer and the head of the Center for Civil Liberties, which jointly won the 2022 Nobel Peace Prize. And I see already the hand of Doris Pack. I want to underline that colleagues there, part of the team who won the Nobel Prize this year, were trained in the Robert Schuman Institute in Budapest. It's supported by EPP. Yes, it's an applause. Thank you, Doris, for doing so. Though it's really great that we have this institute. We are committed to this institute. You know, there we are training young people for becoming politically experienced, but also center-right minded, EPP minded. So that's why it's a good investment and it's a good way what we are doing there. So thank you so much. And now I say, please start the video from Alexandra.
My name is Alexandra Matvichuk. I'm human rights defender, head of Center for Civil Liberties. It's a huge honor for me to address to this distinguished audience with my video message. I record this video in my native city Kiev, which was yesterday severely bombarded by Russian missiles. One of such rocket hit the residential building in the center of Kiev, and one family who were forced to flee from occupied Kherson region lost their home in the second time, because there is no safe place in Ukraine for current moment. We all very grateful to the EU member states for your support in this dramatic time of our history. But the truth is that Putin will stop only when he will be stopped. That's why we need to go further. We need to intensify our cooperation to provide more assistance to Ukraine and more pressure to Russia. Because all this situation which we face for current moment, it's a result of total impunity which Russia enjoyed for decades. For decades, Russia uses war as a tool how to achieve their geopolitical interests, and war crimes as the methods how to win this war. We must break this circle of impunity. If we do not stop Putin in Ukraine, he will find a new target. And this war is not a war between two states, Russia and Ukraine. This war has a distinct value dimension. Putin tried to occupy the country, but parallel to convince the whole world that rule of law, democracy, and human rights are fake values. Because if they are genuine, why do they fail to protect anyone during Russian aggression? Why the whole international system of peace and security are not be able to stop Russian atrocities? In order to win this value dimension, we have to show justice. That's why I ask your support in creation international tribunal. We must hold Putin, Lukashenko, and other war criminals accountable. We must prove that rule of law is essential and justice is possible, even though delayed in time.
Thank you so much for this message. And then, dear colleagues, as a third part of our panel on the situation in Ukraine, I want to give now the floor to Andrzej Halicki, our Vice President from Polish Platforma, and he will introduce the idea of a Winter of Solidarity project for the EPP family. I want to thank him because on all the activities there, he was always a driving force to keep Ukraine high on the agenda. But I also want to thank David McAllister, other friends who were really active on this field, and also mention Siegfried Murisan, because we should never forget about Moldova. It's also important to have this in mind, that all countries in the region are partners for us when we want to give them a clear pro-European perspective. So thank you so much for this, and now I give the floor to Andrzej, please.
Dear colleagues, dear friends, especially dear friends in Ukraine, we have to say openly, there will be no united, safe West without united support for Ukraine now. And the European People's Party was always a leading voice for integration, for development of our values, for enlargement. And now we have to be also a leading voice as ambassador of the Ukrainian expectation and needs. As you know, especially after the tragic accident in Poland, the weapon is needed now to stop the war first. They have to have modern anti-aircraft missiles. They have to have modern weapons to stop the war, to win this war. The two killing people in Poland on the land of members NATO country shows that this is also the question of our common security. And we'll have next week also a resolution concerning the Russia's activity, we can say openly terrorism, because these massive attacks on energy, power plants, electricity infrastructure, civilian infrastructure, this is a kind of terrorism. They would like to have thousands of civilian victims which could be frozen, because without heating, without electricity, the winter will be very tough for them to survive. And we have to name it openly. Russia organized terrorism there. The kidnapping of kids, 11,000 of kids are kidnapped. Only 55 were founded, and they are back in their families again. 11,000 of kids are in Russia today. We don't know where. We have to say it's terrorism. The massive graves, the accidents like the aircraft MH17, and lack of cooperation between Russia's authorities and international institutions. This is illegal. This is against the international law. We have to say, yesterday somebody asked about the documentation. Yes, we have to collect all the documents about these crimes to start the legal process, which will be finished in International Tribunal in Hague. Putin is a war criminal. Lukashenko too, we have to remember. It's not only Putin. But as you know, the winter is coming. And as the leading voice in the European Parliament, but also in European community, we have to be active as the leading party, as the greatest party. We have a lot of very influential politicians, people who are well known, but we have also very big structure of local authorities. I would like to mention the Committee of Region with the leading role of Olgierd Geblewicz. We have thousands of mayors, the people who are active on local communities, and this structure could be very helpful to deliver the needs, what Ukrainians expect now, what is needed first. From my Ukrainian colleagues, I've got a lot of prepared, very precisely described expectations concerning electric generators, in particular small cities, with the number of inhabitants, with the size of this equipment which is needed. We are able to do that. Let's start. And our proposal, my proposal is to nominate one person from each member's party to organize a steering committee on that, very fast. We have to implement such action to buy this equipment and to send to Ukraine as it is possible, as fast as it is possible. We can do it. It will be a real help to Ukrainians because the winter could be very tough for them. I know what I'm talking about because my family is also living there without electricity. The next day, I think 3-4 days without electricity. And it is not very easy to repair it. After these massive attacks, 30% of the electric infrastructure was demolished. Dear colleagues, I call to implement this action as far as it is, and let's do the winter as a winter of solidarity together to show European People's Party also very close to ordinary people, to the citizens of Ukraine. We have to give them real help, not only weapon, not only political support, but also this real one to survive the winter. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrei, for presenting the idea that we are not only as political family are talking and discussing issues, but also being practically present. And again, if you can provide one contact point, one representative from your party towards Andrei, then it would be great to organize some concrete initiatives. Thank you so much. On the content of the resolution to Ukraine, we come later when we discuss the resolutions for today. And then I would go forward to our next agenda point, and that is the application for EPP membership. And there I would give Thanasis first the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. The first session on Ukraine was a public event in the sense that it was streamed. We now revert to a closed event. We begin with the application for the EPP membership. I would like